Okay. What in the barnacles was that? That may be, no exaggeration, the stankiest debut performance from a former champion outside the UFC that these here eyes have ever witnessed. Patchy was pegged by hardcores to cleave through Mario Batista like a knife going through hot butter, and then either be one win away from a title shot, or honestly, they may have just given him one based on the credentials alone. This guy was such a problem at Bellator that everyone was high on him coming in and posing some calamitous issues for 135, because as many pointed out, he only just turned 31. Unlike many other former champs or top contenders from outside organizations who come in towards the tail ends of their careers, we're getting this guy in mint condition. He's a submission demon from another dimension and is coming into our world and setting his sights on sinking his teeth into our champ. He's just gonna claw his way through some killers first, but have no fear, this guy is the baddest ass in the 7 seas. He's gonna roll some skulls in epic fashion. And what's more, he's matched up against Mario Batista, who's pretty much the most hated thing in the UFC right now. People like Marmite more than they like this dude. Hell, I think people like Polio more than they like this dude. He's being punished for giving us that foul performance against Aldo by being fed to a dangerous new potential contender, similar to how Bryce Mitchell was done with Jean Silva. This one's gonna have some heat. Oh boy, I can't wait for this one. So yeah, then we get the fight, and I think we all owe Mario Batista a bit of an apology for doubting his skill set or fun factor at this point. Because out of the two of these guys, I did not peg him to be the one to make it somewhat entertaining to watch. If one of them was gonna stink it up, I thought it would be him, not the exciting new neck snatcher from across the way. But boy, was I wrong. Boy, were we all very wrong. Patchy went in there and shat the bed worse than I've seen any former champion manage to do on their debut. Hell, I thought Patricio Pitbull showing against Yair Rodriguez was bad enough, but at least he was defensively responsible in that bout. He just looked a bit stuck in the mud. Patchy wasn't stuck in the mud in this fight. He was trapped up to the shoulder blades in bubbling, awful, prehistoric tar full of dead mammoths. He was stiffer than a 4x4 plank of cedar wood. Mario Batista just danced around him for 3 rounds and peppered him to kingdom come. Honestly, he played a really smart game plan out perfectly. He's up against a coiled snake here with a deep bag of tricks on the ground, but pretty bogus striking. So he kept it standing, never stopped moving, and made an effort to go to the body as much as possible to try and drain the gas tank of mix on account of him only knowing about this bout 3 weeks out. It wasn't the flashiest thing in the world or nothing, but Batista was smart and looked sharp in there. And I wager he probably had a similar game plan for the slow starter in Chito Rivera, so he didn't really have to change things up that much. But the issue is, on the other side, what the hell was Patchy Mix doing in there? Why did he only attempt a single takedown in the entire 15 minutes? Why, when it became clear that his striking was not up to par with Mario's, did he not try and mix things up a bit? And as many are asking, why in the big blue wet fuck did he not move his head at all as his forehead was catching knuckles over and over? It was certainly shocking to see how stiff he was in there, but if you go back and watch his older fights in Bellator, as elite as he's always been on the ground with a serious squeeze on submissions, he was never that good on the feet. He's always been kind of beans on toast with the hands with an okay kicking game. But I mean in this one though, he was moving all quap-like in there. Why did he make no effort to take Mario down to the deep waters where he can operate best? Well, I think there's a pretty clear answer, and it's not that he sucks. No, he doesn't suck. He's not a chump. He's going to be able to rectify this and rack up some ranked wins at 135, I'm sure. The issue is, homeboy got a bad case of the dreaded stage fright. Yes, as many have already suspected, he just shat the bed on the big stage under the bright lights, and everything he planned on and needed to do just took a dive out of his brain and left him in there like a husk. He was fighting like his skeleton was rebelling against his brain in there. It was bizarre. Clearly, despite having fought before crowds with high stakes attributed to being the champ in the past, nothing can quite prepare someone for being inside the octagon, especially if there's a ton of hype riding on your shoulders. This guy seemed confident enough going in, maybe overconfident actually, talking hella shit about Mario Batista just being a journeyman who wasn't fit to lace his boots and what he planned on doing after smoking him. But all that bravado was either a front to cover up the anxiety going in, or the jitters just hit him the second the cage closed behind him and he went, ah shit, I'm actually here. This is actually happening. I wanted to come on here and title the video something like, no, Patchy Mix doesn't suck, and try and defend the guy as him just having a bad night in the office, because I do truly feel kind of bad for the guy. But I'm sorry, it would be straight up dishonest to just ignore how radioactive of a showing this was. If he went in there and turned Mario into dust on the floor like he said he would, I would be on here singing his praises and theorizing how he would fare against the elite killers up the rankings and even Marab eventually. But alas, I cannot do that, because what we saw was essentially, we got Patchy Mix at home. Don't worry about it. I don't think any of us were expecting to get Patchy Mix at home here. I'm sorry, but when you talk like this,
Question for Mario. Mario, do you feel like you're being overlooked at all with a lot of attention on Patchy coming over? And how do you expect to spoil the party on Saturday?
No, I'm not being overlooked. But look, there's the attention right there. I'm not being overlooked. I get all the attention, obviously. But no, it's fine. He has these aspirations, but he's going to have to get past me Saturday night.
And I'm looking through them, bro. I'm looking through them.
And do anything short of exactly what you said you were going to do, people are going to clown you. You can't come out and actually say out loud that you're looking through your opponent because of how easy it's going to be, and then be surprised at the backlash you receive when you get in the cage and eat dick and balls. Like, there's losing. It's fine if he talked all this shit and then went there and lost. It's how he lost. People who don't watch Bellator or don't know any better in general are just gonna hear, oh shit, check out this Patchy mixed dude on this new card, man. Former Bellator champ, this dude's sick. He's gonna destroy his opponent. He's gonna be a problem. You gotta tune in. And they're gonna go, okay, bet, let's see what this guy's about. And then they're gonna see you go in there and move like Quap Guy and be like, what were these people smoking? Patchy mix sucks. What? Fraud check. Fraud check this, fraud check that. That's where they've gone with it. Would I go as far to say this was a fraud check? Nah, not quite. I'm still somewhat adhering to my original take in the sense that I don't think Patchy Mix actually sucks. This was just definitely his worst showing of all time. We'll see him back in there soon against much lower competition, and I'm pretty confident if he sticks to his bread and butter, we'll see him roll some heads. I'm not sure if I see him being good enough to deal with a murderer's row in the top 10, but I think in due time he'll be forgiven by the fans, similar to how Mario Batista just was. That may have been an anus performance, but he ain't done yet, fellas. Let's see what he can do.